What is something that no one seems to consider in a zombie apocalypse? As zombies gradually lose weight, their pants should come off. And now I have an image stuck in my head of a horde of zombies tripping over their pants. Thanks. Bicycles. The gasoline will go bad in a few years and we'll all be reliant on bicycles to outrun the shambling damned. Plus, bikes are totally silent, and if they're attracted to noise, you've eliminated that issue. Safe drinking water. I've seen in zombie movies or shows where the characters drink muddy, stagnant lake water. I feel like you are just asking to die or become extremely ill of dysentery. Plus the fact that if someone killed a zombie near a water source, even a drop of blood might have the power to infect everyone drinking from it. That's a really good point. You can't tell if there's a zombie lying further upstream infecting all the water. Fun story. I used to be in Army Cadets and we were doing an expedition in the summer through Dartmoor. Everyone who wasn't conserving their water properly decided to drink out of a stream and were trying to call out all the people still drinking out of bottles for being pussies. 20 minutes later we got further upstream to find a rotting sheep corpse with its intestines hanging out in the stream. Oil platforms. Anyone who've been to one can confirm, those things are floating cities. I read this zombie book called Sea of Dead, and they end up on an oil rig safe until one day a seagull crashed dead and decrepit onto the rig. And like either when they tried to leave or get there, they are nudged by this enormous thing in the water, which turns out to be a zombified whale. That's interesting because World War Z is almost the exact opposite. One of the most dangerous places to be was the water, due to the massive number of dead floating around the ocean and walking on the seabed, and occasionally climbing up the sides of boats and such. Who the heck is mowing everyone's lawns? No matter what TV show or movie you watch, the lawns stay immaculate. How? Goats. Vegetarian zombies. Boats. Wanna survive the zombie apocalypse? Steal a yacht. Zombies don't swim. Even in the fiction where they can survive ocean pressures and walk on the sea floor out to islands, they can't swim up to boats that are far enough away from land. In a similar vein, getting to somewhere that's very isolated and remote. There's obviously the problem of growing food and staying warm and all that, but everybody seems to immediately try to find somewhere temperate and populated. We're smarter than zombies. We can figure out the wilderness. They'll die of starvation or predation or just not be able to surmount obstacles like fast-moving rivers and steep cliffs. Also fences. And traps. The person who thinks to do these simple things is always seen as some kind of survival god in movies. So you chose to go around the horde that was stuck in that valley instead of directly through it to save 10 minutes? Brilliant! You ration your food and lay low most of the time? Insanity! And what's this, a homemade tool? I can't even. Drives me nuts. I'm going to Grande Isle, LA. Blow up the bridge up when I get there. Also, all the houses are one stilts. I blow up the stairs too, use rope ladder. Additionally, I pick a house near the marina. If they ever make it to the island, I hop on a boat and head for one of the many oil rigs in the Gulf. There is an abundance of fish near them. I just need to collect rainwater. I'll have a ferry system in place near the bridge. There are plenty of food resources on the island, so just bring booze for when the hurricanes come. We'll have a hurricane party in the grocery store and try not to die. See you there. Housing would finally be affordable in New York again. Poor eyesight is a death sentence. Once your contacts are unsafe to wear, you're stuck with glasses. Break or scratch your glasses beyond usefulness, you're dead. I've been dead set against laser eye surgery until I read this comment. I think this really is easily forgotten, especially as Her Can't Wait for Zombie Apocalypse is done by a lot of nerds and a lot of us wear glasses. People with braces. When your orthodontist is hankering for brains, your options to remove those brackets become limited. I'm aware that they can be removed at home, but it's genuinely a topic that I've never seen even hinted at in zombie movies or stories. I once had a patient remove her braces with pliers. When I asked her why, she said, "I didn't want to have them on anymore." Oh, okay. I think bugs would be a problem. Zombies are rotting corpses with flies buzzing around them all day. If a fly eats zombie flesh, presumably that fly turns into a zombie and could infect a healthy person. Mosquito bites. Zombie mosquitoes. Honestly, I'd just rather kill myself. The zombie, as a species, is designed for failure. Its chief food source, the living human, is also its only method of reproduction, and its number one predator. That predator is smarter, faster, more mobile, probably stronger, and more creative than it ever can be. And it can be taught, in a ridiculously short time, to kill a zombie from 50 to 100 yards away, with reasonable reliability. Like having to fight a lion every time you want to have sex or eat a sandwich. I always hear people say they will just come up to the far north of Canada to be safe from the zombies. 99% of these people have no idea how cold -40°C is when there is no civilization keeping the heat on. Winter will kill more people than zombies. I believe World War Z, the book, had a chapter on this. People went to Canada once the outbreak started in the summer, and were fine until winter came and food began to run out. The food didn't run out though, they just found new meat that was very taboo to eat previously. The zombies mow the lawns because they know that if they don't, the plants will mutate into weird giant pea shooters, and others plants specifically evolved to kill zombies. The shelf life of gasoline. On its own, gasoline has a shelf life of about 3 months. After that, it starts to break down chemically. Ethanol blends can be a little shorter than that. How many zombie movies have you seen where someone pulls up to a gas station and somehow pumps themselves a tank full of gas long after the zombie plague has swept over the area? That gas is useless. And that's before we even get to the issue of what's running the pumps. I feel bad for the animals in the zoos. Also prisons. It isn't nice to call the people in prison animals. Once the zombie virus hits, that doesn't mean that other diseases, natural dangers, accidental injuries, and predatory animals no longer exist. You also won't have easy access to things like flu shots, hydrogen peroxide, etc. Also, lots of people say that once the zombie virus hits, they'd go hole up in a Costco or something because of all the supplies. However, what they don't understand is that everyone is going to go hole up in a Costco, and I think that while you should have a zombie survival team with you, you definitely don't want half of a city in your hideout. Personally, I'm going to go hit up a Dino Mart or something when the zombie virus strikes. Nobody is going to be looting Dino Mart. How fast nature takes back land. If you leave houses abandoned for a couple months, things like mold, vermin, and bugs start coming in. Give it a couple years and plants may even start growing inside through vines and whatnot. We rarely see anyone with some sort of temporary or minor disability in zombie apocalypse movies. What happens when the guy with contacts doesn't have his glasses with him the day the apocalypse starts? I guess that woman with an intrauterine device has to have that in her body forever. Person with screws in their leg to heal broken bones? Those stay there too. The smell. Between the rotting animated corpses and people not being able to bathe for weeks, everyone is going to spend a lot of time puking from the stench. No one can completely get used to that level of stank. You should research what happened in Verdun in WW1. I think you'd be surprised at the horrid conditions people can live through. 1. The amount of time they'd punch zombies in the head with no protection on their hands. Knuckles split easily from punching, and congratulations, you're now a zombie from punching one. 2. Smashing a zombie head with a blunt object will create a spray or mist of blood. Get this in your respiratory system, you're infected. 3. Everyone is always really loud. I feel like I'd be the only one whispering, pissed. Shut the fuck up. If you haven't noticed, there are zombies everywhere. Condoms and birth control. The absolute last thing I would want in a zombie apocalypse are babies or abortions. Stock up. In the apocalypse, condoms are going to be worth gold. Not least because non-lubricated condoms have a bunch of other uses besides sexy times. Holding water, up to 2L, those things really stretch. They're a bit fragile in this role, kind of like a water balloon. Putting the filled condom inside of an appropriately sized sock is a good way to keep it from tearing. Make sure to tie off the mouth of the condom around a stick or pencil so you can get it open again easily, as the elastic in a slingshot. 3 condoms nested inside of each other attached to each arm of a slingshot, for a total of 6 condoms, with a bit of cord tying them together in the middle makes for a surprisingly good slingshot that you can use to hunt small game. Not with rocks, Oh no, you'll be using hand-whittled wood or bone darts like these, with enough penetrating power to kill a small animal or seriously inconvenience a human. Muzzle cover for firearms. Should be self-explanatory. Keep the nasty crap out of your gun by putting a condom over the muzzle and tying it shut with a bit of string. Medical elastic. Condoms can be used like rubber bands in a splint or dressing, phone case or wrapper. If your area still has cell service, this will be invaluable. That it's not going to be fun. It's going to be horrifying. I don't really get the people who seem to like the idea of a zombie apocalypse and think it would be fun in games. I just see them as wanting to have the fantasy of killing shit tons of people without the guilt. I don't know anyone who would really want it to happen, but I can empathize. I think it's partly a sense that modern life cramps us in routine, and in this situation suddenly you are facing adventure, life and death situations, and yes, violence free from moral and legal consequences. Of course, the reality of losing loved ones and facing death and injury daily would quickly take away anyone's enthusiasm, but I can see how the idea of looting stores and houses, moving from town to town, developing a tightly knit group of survivors, using your skills to make weapons and defenses against an enemy, etc., might seem appealing compared to doing 9 to 5 every day. I think this is a reason why apocalypse-type stories, not just zombie ones, are so popular. That if zombies are attracted to the smell of blood, then menstruating individuals would be shit out of luck. Unless you have tampons. That's one thing I didn't think to stock up excessively in case of zombie apocalypse. These could also be used to set up zombie traps. Reddit, the only place where discussion about zombie apocalypses delves into the prospect of using bloody tampons as traps. What is something that no one seems to consider in a zombie apocalypse? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.